So this comment came in during the midst of all of the aftermath of the zero guard. It's been about 29 hours after I've done the zero guard. And someone commented on a video I made called "The Hair Loss Equivalent of a Man's Height." And the person who commented, their name is New, N-E-W. Here's what they say, quote, "You are of average height. American men's average height is 5'9". I'm 5'9". Now, I think men care about hair or height because women judge us on those things, though I think they care about height a lot more than they do care about hair. On dating sites, it's almost impossible to find a woman who doesn't expect men to meet some absurd height requirements, yet they don't say much about expecting men to have a full head of hair, though I have heard some say horrible things about bald men," end quote. Okay, so there we go. I want to focus on this for a minute. I think that's a good point. Obviously, I am oblivious to whatever's going on dating websites, knowing that my wife and I, as of July, will be married for 10 years, and we were dating for, well, not quite a year and a half before we got married. So we've been together for clearly over a decade altogether. Dating is such a foreign concept to a guy like me at this point. But I think that that's a great point right there. And I definitely believe that. It's funny, when I think back to the videos where I have interviewed women, girls, about what they think about men and balding, what I always ask them first, what are attractive qualities in men? Hair never comes up, but something that does, and some people say, well, the reason it doesn't because they don't want to seem vain if they talk about he's got to have a full head of hair. But they do say something that I think is arguably vain. Height is often brought up. I mean, and you see it all the time in chick flicks, right? This whole cliche concept of tall, dark, and handsome. They want a guy who is tall, which is why I had some issues with being 5'9". I mean, because I've basically been this height since like 1995, okay? Like, I was like in 8th, 9th grade, I hit 5'9", and then now I'm a freshman in high school, and even guys that were always the little guys, now they're 6 foot tall and they're still growing. And when am I gonna keep growing? And I haven't grown since like 1995, and it bothered me there for a while. I totally don't care because I think subconsciously I realize that if I was a confident guy, it wouldn't matter even if the girl was taller than me. So, now that I think about it, that's funny. So I guess like the main girl that I liked and was girlfriend kind of thing, whatever, in high school, I was 5'9", but she was like 5'11" at the time. She ended up being like 6'2". That's a true story. And even in college, the girl that I really wanted to go out with she wouldn't quite say yes, and it didn't quite go anywhere past the friend zone. But she was probably an inch taller than me. Not because of height, because of we didn't have, I guess, the chemistry or whatever, didn't have the same interest and all that, whatever it was. But ultimately, it's funny because for me as a guy who's 5'9", which means tall girls would be close to my height or taller, it was never a thing that I let bother me. While I admit I wanted to be taller, I can honestly say that I never let my height get in the way of me being attracted to a girl. Like for my wife, she's 5'6", which is arguably somewhat on the taller side of things for a female. She's 5'6", which means I'm only 3 inches taller than her. But, I mean, had my wife been taller than me, do you think that would have stopped me? No. And it wouldn't have stopped my confidence either. And it's funny, in case you're new to this channel, because a lot of you are, this channel is growing quickly all of a sudden, and I'm noticing that, especially now that I buzzed off the hair. But something I have noticed, or I've shared with some of you guys, well, I've shared in my older videos that my wife was not attracted to me because of my looks. She was attracted to me because of my speaking abilities. She thought I was entertaining and funny and engaging and interesting. She never thought about me being physically attractive until I asked her out on our like second date. That's when she started even thinking of me as that way. And even then, it just kind of like, in her mind, I suddenly became attractive because now not only was I an interesting, engaging person, but I was interested in her and making that obvious. That is what made my wife attracted to me. And you've seen my wife. She's a beautiful girl. She's beautiful. But it's just interesting with all those things that like ultimately my confidence and my ability to communicate is what attracted her to me. Okay? So yeah, I don't care what height she was. I don't care if she would have been over 6 foot tall or the same as me or whatever. That wouldn't have stopped me. And I think it's interesting though, because yeah, I think there's a good point. If you were to poll 100 women on the question as far as, you know, what matters more to you, height or whether he's balding or not, I do think most women would say height matters more. But again, even then, a guy like me would not let that stop me. And granted, it's easy for me to say because I'm 5'9", but we can think of some famous men who are very short and we don't think of them as less powerful or important. Like Al Pacino, last time I checked, he's about 5'6". Yes, the Godfather, or I guess the son of the Godfather 2 and 3, he's about 5'6". Marlon Brando, who was the original Godfather in the first, same as me, 5'9". Okay, well, what about Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., 5'9". I mean, 5'9" is, it's funny because 5'9" and below is still kind of that shorter. If you're 5'10" or above, you're good. No one's going to really think about you being short. You know, as far as this tall, dark, and handsome. If you're 5'10", that's good enough. That's Paul Rudd, by the way. Paul Rudd, Ant-Man is 5'10". Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man is 5'9". Or the original Spider-Man, I've heard actually that Tobey Maguire is 5'9" as well. But it's like 5'9" and below, it's kind of beginning that perception of what could be short. So yeah, even if you're only 5'6", but the Godfather, Al Pacino, you know, it's like, who else? Robert De Niro is also 5'9". So it's like, I don't know. It doesn't bother me anymore. But I think in the end, I think most women would care more about height than they would hair. Even though you have no control over either of them, it's the concept that you're the protector and the provider. So obviously if you are a shorter guy, then I guess you've got a little more to prove as far as the providing part. Which, if you want to talk about something superficial, you know, people will say, well, girls aren't going to be honest and say that they don't want to date a bald guy. Well, the reality of more than that, you should worry about this. You should worry about the fact that women are judging you on your ability to make money and your future and your ability to make money. That's one of the major things they're judging you on, whether they talk about it or not. That is undeniable. That makes you attractive or not. No one's going to deny that, right? I mean, just think about Donald Trump's wife. Think about that. Come on. Right? It's undeniable that one of the most attractive things about men is their ability to provide and protect. But hey, if you are a shorter guy, you can still have that ability to provide. Okay? So if you're trying to figure out whether or not you should go to college, you should. And you should figure out the skill set. You should figure out your future. It's more about making money and being confident. That will go a long way. And you can be a short guy and balding. But hey, if you've got that path and that career that it's obvious that you are a provider, then that overrides that instinct of that. Because again, the only reason they're saying tall, dark, and handsome is ultimately just because, oh, he's tall, he's this big guy that's going to take care of me. All right? But it's not that, and of course, I've said it before. If women were only interested in men who had hair, then why do bald men keep getting born? Because women continue to marry and have children with men who are balding. It's obviously not something to care about. And the same thing with short guys. Okay? So what matters more is that you can sell the act. You can impress her with your confidence like I did with my wife. And that your ability to be confident, but also making money matters so much. If you want to talk about something that seems shallow, about how women are attracted to men, that is the thing. And it's undeniable. You know that Eagles song about love will keep us alive? Well, it may keep us alive, but it won't start a relationship if she doesn't think that you can help financially provide. That's my response to that comment. Thank you for that.